Welcome back to the show. My name is Evan, along with Renee Montgomery.
What's up?
All right, I'm excited about this segment. Now, look, a lot of people have been saying, oh, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Oh, what a sham this is going to be. Jake Paul just a YouTube star. Ben Askren is going to beat the brakes off this guy. Ben Askren, a UFC fighter, a decorated, accomplished mixed martial artist. This guy has won championships in some of the top MMA organizations in the world, but he's well known for his ground game, his wrestling. He's not really known as a top striker. Jake Paul, on the other hand, has been boxing for a couple of years now, beat up Nate Robinson on the undercard of the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. fight. Everybody remembers that. And he thinks that he is a legitimate boxer now. And he's been working with a lot of accomplished boxing coaches, a lot of famous boxers, including Jalen Love, who was a Floyd Mayweather protege. I mean, that guy is a legit boxer. And he's been training and working with Jake Paul. And they're all claiming that Jake Paul's hands are legit and up to date. So on Friday afternoon, Jake Paul and Ben Askren met face-to-face to kind of have their first major press event to promote their April 17th fight at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Your neck of the woods, Renee.
Of course.
Coming to town. And,
of course.
And when they got together, there was a lot of trash talk. 24-year-old Jake Paul was bringing up the lowest moment of Ben Askren's career, that moment where he was knocked unconscious in 5 seconds by Jorge Masvidal at a UFC fight. Remember the running knee to the head? It was the fastest knockout in UFC history. And if you didn't think that Jake Paul was going to bring that up when he got face-to-face with Ben Askren, you were wrong. Here's how it went down.
Jake, if you and I ran into each other in the back alley in Las Vegas and I wanted to do a homicide.
Do it right now then. We're running into each other right now. Come on.
Someone's going to stop you. You got like 27 people.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, okay.
Big
so,
brain.
anyways, I would do a homicide on you if I wanted to.
Yeah. Does that bother you, by the way, that you got knocked out in 5 seconds?
Nah, it happens.
It doesn't bother you?
Not really.
It doesn't really happen, by the way. That's only happened once.
I got a record.
You literally have the record. Yeah.
I literally have the record,
You hold the record.
The record.
Yeah. 5 seconds.
Yeah, the trash talk was epic. And at one point, he even FaceTimed Jorge Masvidal and had him talk trash to Ben Askren. But this is the moment where things escalated. After they got off the microphones and they got face-to-face, here's what transpired. Now, if you run that back, you can see that Ben tries to mush Jake's face, and then Jake fires back with a body shot to Ben Askren. He punches him right in the right kind of kidney area. But Ben looks like he didn't even feel it, like he's brushing off like a bug that tried to land on his shirt. And if you're a fighter and you're hitting somebody who's not looking at you in a body shot like that, you know, to see them completely unfazed, is that a taste of what's to come, Renee?
Evan, I saw a lot of Twitter comments after this. I saw comments that Ben looks like he's like ready to go. I think most people after this were like betting on Ben in a sense of Jake Paul just didn't necessarily, he looked like he was like pushing a bully at school or something. But a lot of people said also too that Jake is putting on a show and didn't hit him hard, because I saw that brought up too, Evan. So I don't know. I think that Jake Paul, I say it and I keep saying it, he's a professional marketer. Like, he knows how to sell things, and he is selling this fight extremely well.
When I think about this, I don't see how Jake Paul beats Ben Askren. Ben Askren has been in the ring with some of the most ferocious strikers in combat sports history. Guys like Robbie Lawler, really accomplished strikers who have thrown much more explosive, much more dangerous, punishing shots than anything that Jake Paul is going to throw at him. And he stood there and he's taken the blows and he's been able to fire back and beat some of these guys. Now, not by striking necessarily, but the fact that he knows timing, he knows how to counterpunch, he knows how to move. He's not going to be like Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, when he walked in the ring against Jake Paul, the adrenaline took over and he looked like he was shot out of a cannon, right? He was running around. Yeah. He wasn't composed. He wasn't throwing clear shots. He had never been in a fight before. Ben Askren has, and he knows how to hit. And where I see this, what I see happening is Jake Paul's going to come out and he's going to try and hit him with a kill shot. And really, if he hits him with a kill shot, maybe he can knock Ben Askren out. I don't know. We'll find out.
So I have a question, Ev, because I saw this posed on Twitter by a lot of people. Is this like a win-win for Jake Paul? Let's say hypothetically Jake Paul loses. If he wins, we already know he's the man, he's on top of the world. If he loses, is there really even a downfall if he loses for every
Yeah,
reason that you just said?
I think this ends his quest to be a professional fighter if he loses, because Ben Askren is not a top striker. And if he loses to a bottom rung striker, I don't know where he goes from here as far as his boxing career goes. You can fight other social media stars, but I think what's intriguing about this fight is that people think that Jake Paul has a chance. And a career in fighting, I think, will end if he loses and it's not even close. If Ben Askren dominates the way I expect Ben Askren to dominate, I think this could be a career ender for Jake Paul. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
Michael J. Babcock is working on an important story. Hopefully, he can talk about it today, but I know he's working on a pretty big story that we'll have hopefully very, very soon. But in the meantime, Renee, your UConn Huskies came up with a big win against Baylor on Monday night in the women's NCAA tournament, and everyone is talking about the final play of the game, a non-call that probably should have been a call. LeBron James says it should have been a call. A lot of big-time NBA and WNBA players are weighing in on this, saying that the Baylor player was clearly fouled while putting up a shot that could have had game-changing ramifications. UConn ended up winning the game because of the non-call. They're moving on to the next round. Renee, you're a UConn legend. I know you've been paying attention. You've been calling a lot of these games. What are your thoughts on this? Did Baylor get robbed here?
So my thoughts are like the saying that the foul led to the win. Yes, of course, there was a foul that could have been called there. Why aren't people talking about the 19-2 run? Like this is my thing. And so this is just how I think of it as an athlete. When I lose a game, and this is me personally, my teammates can attest to this. If we lose, I break down what I could have done in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter that led up to even having the game close enough that the refs can decide it. We all know refs swallow their whistle at the end of the games. That's an understood concept. So the problem that I had with it was that UConn went on a 19-2 run. No one's talking about that. I've lost plenty of games on controversial calls, and I wasn't in the locker room afterwards like, oh man, that controversial call lost us the game. I literally go back and look at what I could have changed before that. So all I'm saying is you got to give the UConn players some credit. They were down a lot and made this unbelievable run. Kristen Williams, Paige, all of them made a crazy good run. Avina Westbrook, and all everyone's talking about is a missed call. So for me, I like to highlight the good stuff, and I think the UConn players did an amazing job.
All right, Babcock's back, by the way. Welcome back to the show, Babcock.
Back.
Yeah. All right. Look,
what are we talking about? The UConn no call?
Oh gosh, yes, yes, the UConn no call.
All right. Well, look, I understand the point you're making. I think it's a valid point. The other thing that came out of this game was after it ended, the head coach of Baylor, Kim Mulkey, made a very controversial comment saying that she thinks the NCAA needs to stop COVID testing once the Final Four begins. And I think the point of this, and you guys can tell me if you think I'm misinterpreting it, is she feels that it's disrupting the genuine spirit of the competition where players could miss big games because of a possible positive COVID test, and she wants all of the teams moving forward to be at full strength as they hit these crucial games. So here's Kim explaining her point. Take a look.
I don't think my words will matter, but after the games today and tomorrow, there's 4 teams left, I think, on the men's side and the women's side. They need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing and then you got kids that end up having test positive or something and they don't get to play in the Final Four? So you need to just forget the COVID test and let the 4 teams that are playing in each Final Four go battle it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I get what she's saying here.
Yeah, her take here drives me crazy. Look, I hate that sports have been affected. I hate that the tournament was canceled last year because of COVID. I hate that, millions of people have lost their jobs, lost their businesses, lost their lives. You can't not test for COVID because you want the players to be able to play. It's like sports is one thing, and the virus and people's lives and dying is something completely more serious. I don't like this take. I know
you're making a serious point right now, but I can't not point out the fact that
the cat
just walked behind you with a flower around its head.
I didn't even know he was there.
I tried not to laugh so hard.
Is it just that you got a cat dressed up like a sunflower?
Oh my gosh.
He's got a cut. He has an injured ear, Evan.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Well,
That's why.
shout out to your cat. Obviously, this is my opinion. What Kim Mulkey said is stupid and dangerous and should be ignored by everybody. I can't believe that she would get on a national platform like this and suggest, after all the hundreds of thousands of people who have died, that we should just forget COVID testing. Come on, man. People's lives are more important than the championship. As much as we all love sports and we're all in this career because we love sports, there are things that are more important than that. And nobody's lives should be at risk to play a game. And this is just asinine. Welcome back to the show. We're about to talk about my favorite thing in the world, baseball card collecting, everybody. We've been reporting for months, really over the past year, an explosion in the sports memorabilia world. Baseball cards, basketball cards, and football cards in particular. People are paying millions and millions of dollars for these cards. The values have just jumped like insane prices. And because of that, because the prices have skyrocketed so fast to such high numbers, there's been an insane demand for these grading companies like PSA, which is the Professional Sports Authenticator. They're like the main authenticator of sports trading cards. So if you want to get your card graded, if you think you have a card that's valuable, you send it into PSA, and they have their professionals look at the card with a fine-tooth comb, with the microscopes and experts, and they make sure the centering is right, that the corners aren't bent, that there's no creases in the card, stuff like that. And if it gets a high grade, like a 9 or a 10, it could make your card, especially if it's rare, even more valuable, and collectors will pay more money, a premium, if you will, for a card that's rated with like a 9 or a 10. Well, because of the boom, the explosion in the industry over the past year, PSA has been inundated with people from all over the world that have been sending in their collections to get their cards graded. And there is a backlog that is so deep that PSA had to issue a statement saying, we are temporarily suspending our card grading services because there are just too many people sending in cards to be graded, which you got to understand how big of a deal it is for the leading card grading people to just say, we can't handle the surge right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, here, I just want to make an announcement to anybody out there. If you have a really valuable card, if you give me a percentage, I know some people at PSA, I will get your card graded. I promise you.
I like that, Babcock.
Yeah, good luck with that. They have made it very clear there's no jumping the line, man. I'm sorry. Unless you got a Honus Wagner from like 1917 or something like that.
Right.
Happening.
Listen, all I heard you say, Ev, was that this is an opportunity for another company to emerge. The reason I say that is because people aren't going to wait. Like, the selling is still going to happen. All of it's going to still go through. Somebody's going to figure out a way to scan it almost electronically. There's going to be a company that's digital that's going to be busting them out that has the same type of credibility level once they show that they can do it. I see a new emergence coming. PSA, you better open up shop. I just know how business works.
It's true. By the way, since we posted the story on the website this morning, several TMZ staffers have hit me up saying, oh my God, I was going to send in cards. So this is like a big deal because people from all over the country that have been like getting their childhood collections to send into PSA are now like, oh crap, now what do I do? So they've got to find options. But Renee, that's why you are successful in business. That's why you are the co-owner of multiple sports franchises, because you're thinking like a true like a pioneer. You're thinking forward. You're a visionary. Where I'm just sitting here going like, oh, that sucks. I guess I'll twiddle my thumbs and wait for PSA to open up again.
Nah, yeah, they're gonna have to get somebody digitally. I can guarantee you there's a company that's gonna digitally scan it. They're gonna read the codes, they're gonna match it up with what was printed, and they're gonna be like doing 100 a day. And all of a sudden, we're not gonna even know what PSA is gonna be like. Remember when people used to use a microscope and actually scan the card? That's what we're gonna be saying.
Sounds like Renee's already got her business plan.
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up?
WNBA superstar and co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
All right, we've got to talk about Kevin Durant. Everybody by now knows about the feud between Michael Rapaport, but what's interesting to me is, despite the very homophobic language that Kevin Durant used in a private Instagram conversation with Rapaport that was made public by the actor this week, he used some very homophobic language. He's multiple slurs, misogynistic and homophobic slurs that he hurled at Michael Rapaport in private, but so far no response from the NBA or some prominent gay and lesbian rights groups condemning the language. And to me, I am completely shocked by this. And we're going to show you video of another NBA player weighing in on this. But to me, the bigger headline is you have Kevin Durant using really offensive language to insult Michael Rapaport. And what he's using is he's trying to say you're less of a man and comparing him to a gay man, basically using homosexual sex acts to insult a person, basically saying because of these things you are less. Now, of course, Michael Rapaport is not gay; he's straight. But the point is, when you are weaponizing homophobia to attack somebody, and to me, that's disgraceful. It's the same way that Myers Leonard of the Miami Heat used an anti-Semitic word to attack somebody in a video game live stream who wasn't necessarily Jewish, but he felt like that particular word would hurt that person. And
you grow like a girl. It's like that when people say that, you know.
So look, I like Kevin Durant. My daughter wears his shoes. You know, we've covered him a lot. He's one of the best players in the NBA. But to be completely honest with you, like, I'm very surprised. We've reached out to the NBA. We've reached out to GLAAD. We've reached out to multiple people about this. And
I've reached out to the NBA so many times, Evan. They always answer me, but for some reason here, I can't get in touch with anybody on this.
I can't for the life of me. The NBA has been so outspoken when it comes to racial issues and anti-Semitic issues, and even issues that affect the gay and lesbian community in the past. They've really stepped up on. But in this one of their most high-profile players, it's just been crickets from the NBA, and I don't really understand why.
I think the bigger problem is how people are talking to one another. So you see it with a Myers Leonard. Now you see it with KD. Grant you one is different because he knew he was being recorded, but I say this all the time. If you don't talk a certain way in your personal life, in your private life, it doesn't matter if your mic is hot or if somebody leaks what you say. Stop talking like that. I know that people probably talk like that all the time. I'm sure Kevin Durant does that same type of talk all the time when he's going off, but it doesn't make it okay. I think that's what people are starting to understand. Just because you've done it for a long time, just because you may have said something for a very long time, and now times are changing. A lot of people are saying, oh, everyone's sensitive. Well, yeah, maybe it's time to change with the times because that's unacceptable. Like what people are saying, even if it is the norm, even if it is something that you've said forever, it's unacceptable.
And you know what? The NBA is usually really good in these situations. They normally act quickly and they make the right move. I think they're probably the best of the major sports leagues in handling this type of thing. But I think we're seeing here the difference between someone who is Myers Leonard and someone who is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is one of the premier stars of the NBA. And Myers Leonard, when it comes to basketball, doesn't matter if he's in the league or not. But it's not the case for Kevin. Kevin Durant is an important player. And the bottom line, though, is that this is not going to just go away. A lot of people have seen these messages, and a lot of people are offended by what Kevin said. And sitting there and ignoring it is not going to see this go away. The NBA has to address it. I'm not saying they have to suspend him, but they have to address it in some way. Yeah.
Look, the NBA, they punished Kobe Bryant when he used a homophobic slur during an NBA game, and same with Rajon Rondo. They both were, but the difference is that happened in public during an NBA game. In this situation, it happened in a private DM conversation that was supposed to remain private. But anytime you put something in writing, there's a possibility it can go public, and it's public now. And
Ev, I think one of the things that sports leagues are struggling with is how to discipline things that happen outside of the workplace, basically. Sure. So I think that's where it's, because even with Myers, it became, he was on the game, so he was indefinitely suspended. It makes it a little bit of a gray area. And so I think they're probably trying to figure out how can they go about it, because as players, they're probably going to be like, well, what can we do? Is everything we're doing under a mic? I can see that.
I'll tell you what I'd like to hear. I just like to hear, I'm not even saying the NBA should suspend him or fine him or any of that stuff. What I'd like to hear is just somebody condemn the language and just say, this language is not okay. I'd love to hear Kevin Durant say that. Kevin Durant say, look, I used language I shouldn't have used. It was offensive. I understand that, and I won't use that again. I'm not taking back my animosity towards Michael Rapaport. He and I, whatever, you're allowed to have your beef with whoever you want to have your beef with, but using that language was a step too far, and I apologize. That's kind of what I would hope would happen, but I'm not expecting that. We did speak to PJ Tucker of the Milwaukee Bucks and asked him what he thought about the Kevin Durant situation and if the NBA should take action. And this is what PJ Tucker told us.
He's in hot water for his comments he made to Michael Rapaport. You know, do you think the NBA should suspend him?
Of course not. He didn't do nothing wrong.
He didn't do nothing wrong?
No.
A lot of people were offended by his comments. You know, he called him a C word and...
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. He didn't do nothing wrong.
So you don't think he crossed the line?
No, he did.
What about bringing up Rapaport's wife?
This ain't that bad.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I think that I think that PJ Tucker probably speaks for a lot of NBA players. You just feel like, you know, it was a private thing. He didn't do anything wrong. You're allowed to have a private beef. But again, to me, it's not a secret anymore. It's out. It went public, and I would hope that Kevin Durant will speak on this, and that the NBA will speak on this sooner rather than later. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up?
Renee Montgomery is here.
Well, hello there.
I'm so glad you're here for this segment. I've been waiting to talk to you about this all day long. Draymond Green, the NBA superstar, is in some hot water over comments he made about the pay disparity between male and female athletes. I want to start this off by saying I watched this entire interview in context, and it is my personal belief that Draymond Green is on the side of women getting equal pay, getting paid more. He believes they're getting paid less than they deserve. But the way that he kind of worded his explanation during an interview earlier this week is what's kind of turning people against him. So he was asked specifically about his claims that women are doing too much talking and not taking enough action in terms of getting the pay that they want. And here is Draymond explaining the whole situation. Take a look.
I'm really tired of seeing them complain about the lack of pay because they're doing themselves a disservice by just complaining, you know, and
right. They're not just complaining, really.
But they are, because they're not laying out steps that they can take to change that. And so it's coming off as a complaint because the people that can change it, they're just going to continue to say, well, the revenue isn't there. Well, how about all of these people that are running these big time companies with these huge marketing dollars, these huge marketing budgets, put that money towards telling the story of Diana Taurasi. You don't know her story because these companies don't put money towards marketing women. So then if they don't put money towards marketing women, the revenue never grows and it falls on deaf ears and it comes off as a complaint.
Yes. So you kind of understand what he's trying to get to. He's basically saying that the PR tactics that female athletes have used to try to, you know, put a spotlight and get results as far as higher pay, more viewership, more exposure to a national audience. He's saying the talking isn't working. There needs to be a better plan of action. But obviously, when you use the words, you know, stop complaining, I'm tired of the complaint. That raised a lot of ears. A lot of people were very upset about that. One of the people who has spoken out in response is WNBA star Angel McCoughtry, a 5-time WNBA All-Star. You guys ever play together, Renee?
Yeah, that's my homie. What up, Cuzzo? She's an Olympian. She's led the league in scoring multiple years. She's a baller.
Yeah, she's also an entrepreneur. I mean, this is a woman who is not just a high-level athlete, but she's also a businesswoman who's been trying like hell to do all the things that Draymond's been talking about. And this is what she said in response to Draymond's comments. Take a look.
So Draymond, have you done your research? Have you asked us questions? Don't you think we've tried to, you know, do that kind of stuff? No, he hasn't done his research. That's my only thing with Draymond. And with us, we want to get our stories out. You know, I've created a TV show about these kind of issues. It's a dramatic comedy. It's called Fair Game. I've gone to Spring Hill Entertainment. I've gone to Sony where Steph Curry people are. We got turned down. Oh, we don't want a show about WNBA. We're trying to get our story out. So Draymond, do your research before you tell us we need to do this and we need to do that. We've been doing it for years. Now is the time you're taking notice. So I think Draymond needs to definitely talk more to the women before just thinking he had a right idea.
Yeah, so Angel put it out there. So look, ultimately what she's saying is that she's been in the trenches. She's taken TV projects and multimedia projects to LeBron's production company, to Steph Curry's production company, which I think is interesting. Yeah. She's saying, I've gone to these influential people, these high-level, high-powerful people, and I'm getting turned down from LeBron and from Steph Curry. I'm going to companies. She's invested in a company called Player TV that it's a network that's going to spotlight athletes and their personal stories. Like, she's doing the work, and she's got a team around her that's doing the work. She's saying that Draymond Green needs to call her up and they can talk about the actual plan. But Renee, I've been waiting to hear your response to this all day long. As somebody who is an incredible player turned businesswoman, you have bought a stake in multiple professional teams now, including the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. You've launched podcasts. You are a multimedia force. You are a titan right now. You are making the moves. So when you hear Draymond Green say these things, how do you feel about it?
I think Draymond should know that the WNBA is about that action. And so everyone knows that we are when it comes to every facet. We had players on a team standing up against their owners, putting out their voice. Were they complaining? I wonder if he thinks the Atlanta Dream was complaining about not having support from the ownership group, the previous ownership group. I wonder if he calls that complaining, because a lot of people call that voicing their opinion. A lot of people call that using their platform. So when the WNBA players use their platform, use their voices to voice our opinions of the disparity in pay, I don't think it's complaining. I think it's making people aware. I think that he's also, by doing this rant, even though it's an uneducated rant, I'm glad he did it, because he's putting it out there now that the brands do need to do that. But I'm curious, has he ever been a part of a marketing deal where he said, all right, I want to make sure that there's a WNBA player that's on this as well because they deserve it? To me, I would respect that more, because now he's putting that platform, his platform, to use. That would be action. It's really shocking that he doesn't think that we've thought of that. Like, great idea, Draymond. Have marketing people, have companies tell our story. Genius. Oh my gosh. How did we not think of that yet? Of course we have, but we're not getting the yeses. That's why we're voicing our opinions. We're not getting the results. So that's why we're putting it out there, so that maybe companies can see that this is what we want, this is what we need, and this is what we need from you all. It's just a little bit shocking, and it's disappointing when Draymond, I think he gets it. I think he gets it. Yep. But he could be an ally in so many different ways. What if he went on there and instead of tweeting about a hot take and said, hey, any companies that support me from now on, you have to guarantee that you're going to support a women's sport as well. Imagine what that would have done. That one tweet, that one interview, but that would be about that action. And I guess he just wants to complain as well.